welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're taking a look at Compass Box, The Circle, number 2, 46% ABV. Dustin, what do we got here, bud?
So this is not the circus, which is what this is right now. All right, so Compass Box a couple years ago started this Circle series where they have bartenders go out and do blends, and the best blend becomes the Compass Box Circle. So this is kind of a bartender's blend. Predominantly, this is Glen Elgin. This has a fairly decent amount of refill and first fill sherry cask use. We're getting Glen Elgin, Teaninich, Ardmore. I'll have to take a quick glance here to make sure I get all of you guys here. Speyburn, some blended Scotch whiskey, and Linkwood apparently made it to the mix. Coming in at 46%, Mike, and one of 3,113 bottles.
Did you say Ardmore as well?
Yeah, Ardmore. Very small amount.
Dustin, you've always been a big fan of Compass Box, and I've gotten so many of them throughout the years. Another fun one to take a look at. I tell you what, they're hit and miss these days, but we've had a lot of good luck with the Compass Boxes over the years.
Especially when they add plain leash. Especially.
Yeah, they've been going up in price, which is kind of taking the fun out of some of the Compass Box stuff, but that's unfortunately the entire industry.
Beautiful vanilla flower wax.
This is incredibly just quaffable.
Getting lost in this vanilla.
It is really good.
Yeah, really it is waxy vanilla with like a honeycomb, a little bit of just... It's bringing in that sherry note, but it's kind of more like a very light European oak cough medicine, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is some type of slightly chocolate-covered espresso bean sort of in the
There's
background.
some chocolate here, yeah.
And behind all those like white fruits and frosting and honey and there's the slightest vegetal note or floral. I would just say like cucumbers with honey drizzled on it.
You can see a little bit of a floral
cucumber,
note, yeah.
little cucumber, and water.
Yeah, very, very light. All the scents are very, very light, very airy.
Yeah, I almost think of like Fresh Pond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Central Park, spring. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, well, it's a pond. Some of the water doesn't move much, but yeah, very fruity.
I am pleasantly surprised.
Very apple, orchard fruit.
Soft pear.
God, definitely soft pear.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Honeysuckle.
Yeah, the honey's coming in along with the vanilla now, but the honey vanilla waxiness is that's the backbone of this nose.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to me, like the vanilla honey is not a big part of this. It's the backbone, though. Like you said, it's really the orchard fruit that really is the show. A little bit of the waxiness, and then a little funkiness, a little bit of oak note, not super oaky.
Not terribly oaky.
It just smells amazing.
It does.
And just the right amount of oak, not too much oak. Not too much.
You can't get a ton with 46. I guess you could, but
Older whiskeys will do that, but when you go into it, though, man, the sherry comes out. Lots of milk chocolate. Lots of red fruit that you weren't picking up on the nose. And then it's layered on top of that orchard fruit. So the orchard fruit kind of gets pushed back a little bit as that little drizzle of like very light milk chocolate. And then you get a little nice spiciness from some oak, maybe a hint of youth, maybe even that Ardmore slightly peated note.
yeah, I mean, this is very dessert initially on the palate, that's for sure. But again, the oak note really, after I just said you really can't get a great oak note, with 46 on the palate, it had a really nice oak note on it at the end. I still think driven by that waxy vanilla, backbone of the flavor. But, on the palate, man, it was incredibly dessert, sweet. Everything had sugary sweetness kind of layered on top of it. Extremely palatable. Came off way higher than 46%. Another great texture to a whiskey. And there were multiple layers of this. It came off sweet, then you peeled it. Then it was sweet fruit. Then you peeled it. Then it was a little bit of milk chocolate with some sweetness and some sugar. Then you peeled it again. And maybe just a little bit of that dark espresso bean right at the end. But again, with beautiful sweetness, another great job.
Are you getting Keith?
Lost there, huh, buddy?
Yeah, Keith was often like...
I'm hearing everything that you're saying, and then I also think it's on top of all that, it's like watermelon like covered in milk chocolate.
You know what? That's a good note. You're right.
Yeah. I didn't really go to anything red, but Dustin said red before, before we added water, before we went to the palate, and you're right, watermelon.
There's a very, very subtle tartness that I feel like could come out more, certain days of the week or something.
I am very impressed with this.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This doesn't have a whole lot of aged whiskey.
No, and what doesn't taste super old either. I mean, it's just an exceptional blend of
Those casks they got
casks,
were
yeah.
really good casks.
Yeah, they treated the whiskey soft.
And I wanted to kind of touch on.
Aggressive.
For sure.
I wanted to touch on what Mike was talking about with the mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. It's oily, waxy, but then also has a peppery, spicy bite to it. You don't get that very often where you get all that in one whiskey.
I agree, and I didn't mention the spice before. There was a spice bite
Yeah.
to it right at the end. I kind of got lost in the oak note, but it was along with that oak note.
It just makes the mouthfeel just beautiful on here.
It really was a very layered whiskey too. Neat on the palate. It had a really exceptional mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. All right, so we have a little bit of water. Comes off basically the same
Watermelon now is
on the nose.
distinctly there. The red notes are coming out.
Everything's Keith said watermelon. It's hard to get away from that.
One point is really the red
Such
notes.
a good watermelon.
Like there wasn't a lot of red on the nose initially. Now there's a lot more red.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. You had to search for it, then it came out.
It was so sugary at first. It's
Yeah.
so much sweetness to it at first, and not like a sickly sweetness, like just a really nice like cake batter sweetness to it.
This might
Because this is just
This is
fruity,
a really good whiskey.
balanced,
For
spicy,
a young
complex.
whiskey, wow.
The spice well on it is abrupt and quick, and it's just something that adds to the whiskey. I'm not as much of a spice fan as you guys are, but with this whiskey, where it's at in the experience is almost perfect. It's kind of like right at the end, right before the oak note comes in, and it's a super quick, just a swell and then gone.
It's a balancing element here. It's doing it perfectly. This, again, as much as we talk about how fruity and sweet and all that other stuff it is, the experience from the arrival on your tongue where it's oily and sweet, and then as it moves back and the spice builds, the chocolates come out, and then you get the oak finish on the end and that lingers. It's just an incredibly well put together experience.
Look, this isn't
Teaninich, I
something that happens by mistake. This isn't something that happens in a single cast. This is a extremely well put together piece of craftsmanship.
Someone needs to hire the bartender
from start to
who
finish.
blended this.
Yeah, this was really
This
well
guy needs to be like running a distillery.
All right, Dustin. So you spoke pretty well about this. Where are you as far as the whiskey score?
So I'm between two numbers, Mike. I'm going to go with the lower, and I'm going with an 89. Mm-hmm. I have been absolutely floored by this whiskey since I first opened it. And every time I go back, I'm more impressed by just how exceptional this is. This is one of the best whiskeys I've had this year, period. Forget price. It is so well done.
It's extremely well put together, Dustin. Yeah, and I was, first thing, at least an 88. It's better than that. But, I'm going to go with tick higher than you. I'm going to say 90. And the reason why I'm going to say 90 is, it's rare that at 46% I would say that, and it's rare that something had that big of a cinnamon swell do what I would say that with too. But, it's an impressive piece of craftsmanship. Initially neat on the palate to go through those individual layers that I got 2 times over in the exact same fashion, is something that obviously was intended. And just the way it took water, the way it kind of it stayed true to kind of what it was as far as the initial core of the whiskey, but still moved a few things around with water, especially on the palate. Man, this is an exceptional piece of artwork.
Yeah.
90.
Yep.
Keith?
I'm right there with you at a 90.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular compass box. This one, circle number 2. Have I tried this before? I don't remember trying this before.
No, in fact, I picked this up when I lost my sense of smell, and I was just kind of like...
Yeah.
They finally put this on sale because they had it mispriced initially for way too much, and they fixed the price. And I realized they only had 1 box left that wasn't damaged. And if you're getting a compass box, you want a pristine box. So
What a treat. What a treat as always. Yeah. Another job extremely well done. Again, that's why I always like compass boxes. Sometimes we'll get a whiskey that I'm just absolutely blown away by.
Yeah.
46%, 8 to 12-year-old whiskey, whatever. This is a great whiskey.
John Glazer is a really cool dude. I got to meet him when I went to Indiana with the Scotch for Dummies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he just stood and talked with everybody for hours. Coolest dude ever. Compass Box, what's up?
If you guys had a tried this one, I'd like to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do you wish, folks?
happy circle drinking.
See you then. Welcome. Welcome, and let me make sure he's standing in the proper place.
Did you move that?
He's a meathead, and we got to make sure we keep him in frame. All right,
3-year-old children get treated better.
Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're taking a look at the Compass Box, the Circle, number 2. We're going to start that over. The Compass Box. Woo, okay. Third time charm. Welcome.
Please keep it. Go. And 3, 2, 1, go.